In this experiment, I will show you how to make your own rain. Have you ever wondered how the water from the clouds fall? When completing this experiment, students should be able to understand the water cycle, apply what they have learned to the weather, evaluate why water has cycles and the way they work, and remember what they have learned and be able to use it in the future. For this experiment, you will need a pot to boil water, a pie tin, ice, and oven mitts. For the experiment, first you will fill a pot with water and put it on the stove. When the water starts boiling, you get a pie tin. Put some cold water and ice cubes in the pie tin. Wearing oven mitts, hold the pie tin over the steam of the boiling water. After a couple minutes, there should be water vapor condensing on the bottom of the pie tin. If the drops become large enough, they should begin to drop off the pie tin. This is the rain.
Watch the pie tin. See the water droplets that have formed on the pie tin, and they will start to fall down. Why did we use ice in the pie tin? To understand that, first you should know that all materials have three phases. One is a solid, two is a liquid, like water in a glass, and the third one is gas, like the air around you. What this graph is showing you is that as the temperature gets hotter, materials change form. So, for example, an ice cube starts to melt as the temperature gets hotter and it becomes a liquid. Eventually, it becomes a gas. The opposite is true. The gas becomes a liquid as it gets colder, and the liquid becomes an ice as it gets even more cold. So, in this picture, when you are boiling the water gets hot enough to become a gas. And as it rises up, it hits the pan, and the pan is really cold. So the water actually gets out of gas phase and becomes a liquid again because it's colder. And that is really what happens in nature as well. Now think about it. Why did we use the pie tin? First of all, we needed something to hold the ice so the tin would get really cold. But importantly, water needs something to condense onto. So you see that with a cold glass of water, there's little water droplets that form on the outside of the gas. And clouds act the same way. Water needs something to condense on in nature as well.
After watching the rain fall from the pie tin, take a couple minutes and think about these questions. If we used an ice tray instead of a pie tin, do you think there would have been a different result? Why do you think the steam from the hot water made rain? How does this model act like the water cycle? And do you think you can make the water drip at a faster rate? If so, how? So, how does the water cycle work? The water cycle has different parts that include evaporating, condensing, and precipitating. Evaporation is when the water is taken from a liquid form and turned into a vapor. Condensation is when the water vapor is turned into a liquid, and precipitation is a product of condensation and it falls from the clouds. Why is the water cycle important? The water cycle is constantly happening and we need water in order to live. If the water cycle did not happen, we would not have clean water for us to drink or use.
A final thing to talk about: global warming. So, we talked about how water needs to get colder to become liquid again and come down as rain. What happens when the world gets hotter and hotter and we have less areas that are cold? Will the rain not come down anymore? Will the water stay in the air as a gas? What connections can you make to civilization in terms of the water cycle and the temperatures of phases for water? Will we one day disappear as other ancient civilizations have done? Or will we be able to figure out a way to regulate our actions to improve the future.